Hi, everybody, and welcome.
Yeah.
Um, I think Ramon's the only one that's here right now. We got started a few minutes late. We were yakking, and Ramon was on my night owl show with me last night,
Uh-huh.
and nice young man.
Okay.
And I'm sure several others will be showing up. It doesn't take them long after notifications drop.
Okay.
But so today we're talking about positive affirmations,
Yes. Yes.
which we all desperately need.
Yes. Yes.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
And and I brought out some of my positive affirmation cards.
Mm-hmm.
I've got mindful messages. I've got the universe has your back, and this is my current one that I'm doing every day. Absolute affirmations.
Okay.
And I've got another one that's by Louise Hay, and I can't find the damn deck, so I don't know. It's around here somewhere. It's here somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
Oh, well,
Hi,
that's
Julie. Hi, Garnet. And
yes.
so this is my co-host Isaac, who's a professional counselor and know what he's talking about. I'm sorry, excuse me. This is Sir Isaac. I
You see
forgot
my
to put
name.
his title.
I changed that. I changed that. It was blank,
So
and I'm
should I
like,
change
okay.
me to Lady Sherry? Is that it?
Yeah. So I typed it in. Where
All
Isaac.
right, I'll do that.
Okay.
Um, so anyway, we love doing this. We have the most fun.
Yes.
Um, and our goal is like with here we go.
There you go. Lady
Lady
Sherry.
Sherry and Sir Isaac. Now we're set to go. I should have
Yes.
got my tiaras out. Um, but our goal is to each week or each episode, which is every other week,
Mm-hmm.
um, we have a topic. We post it about a week before. Although I was a little late this time. In on my community page, and we'll give you three options of what topic you want us to cover on the next show.
Mm-hmm.
And so this show's winner is positive affirmations. I got the most votes by like 2%. And so they're usually pretty close together. It's I try to wait to the last minute before I pull it and say, okay, this is it. Because I want to give everybody a chance to be able to get in there and give their opinion of what they want us to talk about.
Yes.
Last episode we did it on wasn't it telling your own story or was it mirror work? I don't remember which one we did last episode,
We
but
did telling your own story.
telling your own story. That's right,
Mhm,
and it was really really great.
mhm.
We had very stimulating conversation in the chat. People were talking back and forth, lifting each other up, talking people through stuff. And that's kind of the goal that Isaac and I had was to be able to bring up these different topics and help you learn some tricks and steps of the trade of how to deal with it and how to know that
Mhm,
okay, it's at the point where I need to get professional help.
mhm,
Because we're just a YouTube channel. We're not medical doctors.
mhm.
Uh, Granted, Isaac is a licensed counselor, so he knows a lot more about what he's talking about than I do. Um, I just had a concentration in behavioral science when I got my degree.
Mhm,
So that's as close as I got to
mhm,
becoming a counselor.
mhm. And I guess
And
what Sherry's trying to say is this does not take the place of seeking out your own counselor.
exactly.
Mhm.
We're here to help guide you a little bit, give you some
Right.
answers to questions you may have. And if by the end of the show, if you're feeling like, okay, this was helpful, but I need more help,
Mhm,
then we also try to provide options of how to get help, you know,
mhm.
who to reach out to. Uh, Hi, Book. Um, there are most communities have a community center or of some kind, usually through the government. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
through some of the local hospitals
Mhm.
that will have behavioral health clinics for people who need a
Mhm.
counselor.
Mhm.
Um, some churches provide that. That's not necessarily religious based.
Mhm.
They kind of offer you a little bit of both.
Mhm.
Um, universities, I know our university where I work at has a thriving counseling center uh,
Mhm.
where faculty or staff or students can go if they think they need some help. Whether if it's just to talk it out with someone or to
Mhm.
go in the screaming pillow room and hit things with big pillows and scream at the top of your lungs. That's one of the things they offer just to get
Wow.
the frustration out. It's better than killing somebody, I guess. Um, and Isaac works at a university, so he's part of their counseling program there.
Yes.
So he's there to help the students and faculty and staff where he's
Oh,
at.
you're student. We just do students.
Do what?
We only do students.
Oh, you only do students. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, well, we do all three,
That's good. That's
which
good.
is a good thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know every semester at finals on dead day, they have uh the dogs, the now I can't think of what to call them. The emotional support
Emotional
dogs.
emotional support animals.
Yeah, and they'll bring them in over at the library, and most of them are big fluffy dogs that love
Mhm.
to be pet.
Uh-huh.
And the kids can go and hang out, pet the dogs, and hug on the dogs, and play with the dogs, and it's just like an afternoon of them de-stressing before the next round of finals starts the next day.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's a big hit. The first
Mhm.
time they brought that in, it went over really, really well.
Mm.
Um, Forgive the noise behind me. My brother's in the process of getting ready to barbecue, so that requires noise. And so there's also several online organizations
Mhm.
that offer counseling services.
Mhm.
There's a new one. What I'm going to go blank, and I don't have my book. I forgot to write it down. Better Health, I think it's called.
Yep.
BetterHealth.com, um, and they will help you locate a counselor in your area
Mhm. Mhm.
if you need additional, more professional help. Hi, Karen. And so I will let Isaac take over, and I'm going to shut up now. And which
Okay.
is a major accomplishment for me. So
Nah. Now you go ahead. But we decided, well, you decided that we would talk about, you as the community decided we talk about positive affirmations. And I like to talk about affirmations from the viewpoint of uh, Louise Hay, who says that we are doing affirmations all the time, but they are usually unconscious and negative. And we have a hard time sometimes telling ourselves something positive. And most people will avoid telling themselves something positive because we've been conditioned. People will say stuff like, don't get the big head, don't think you're more than anybody else. And see that those things sort of stay with us, and we can compliment other people, but we have a hard time saying, oh, I did a good job, I'm proud of myself for doing that.
yeah,
I mean, we can't even say we have a difficult time saying it to ourselves. But she says we're always doing affirmations. You have bec Your words are energy, and you have to be
yeah.
careful what you're saying, what you're putting out into the universe. Basically, that's the whole thing, is becoming conscious of your self-talk. We carry on a conversation in our head all the time, and
Yeah.
we need to what we would s what we say to ourselves sometimes, it would end relationships if we said it to other people.
Isn't that the truth? And we're
Yeah.
always more than willing to believe the worst that
Yes.
someone says about us
Yes.
than the best. You could have
Yes.
10 people say very positive, affirming things to you, but you let one person say something negative, and
Yeah.
that's the remark you're going to remember. And that's the one that's going to follow you all day long, is
Yeah.
that one negative remark.
Yes. Well,
Why that
share
is, I don't really know. It's, again, kind of baked into the DNA
yeah,
in the
but
way
think
we're
about it,
raised.
Sherry. It's sometimes when people pay us a nice compliment, we bat it away. It's like
Yeah,
we're like in Star Trek, we put up the deflector shield. "Oh, gee golly, no. This old
yeah,
thing," that's the one that we love. "This old
yeah,
thing." But we have to be you know, and that's a one that people have a hard time taking a compliment. And I heard, someone say one time that Johnny Carson was good at taking compliments, but if you've ever heard anybody compliment him, he would just say, "Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you."
yeah,
And that's what we need to learn to do, is just simply say thank you and feel what it
yeah,
feels like. Because that's what all of these things that we're doing is tying together, like paying attention to your emotions. It's triggering a feeling or a sensation in our
mhm,
body. And we think that we have to do something to get rid of that feeling or go back to equilibrium. If if we would just hold steady and simply say thank you and feel what it feels like over time, we don't try to bat it away anymore.
exactly, exactly.
Yes.
I know I started doing daily affirmations, doing videos.
Mhm.
I don't always get them done every day.
Mhm. Mhm.
Sometimes life just gets in the way, but I
Uh-huh.
try to do them every day. And I usually do it on my lunch break.
Uh-huh.
And I'll have one of these decks of cards. And every day, it's like I'm at lunch and I'll reach down and I'll pull out a card and boom, this is what it says. I
Mhm.
don't know what card I'm pulling until I pull it. It's
Uh-huh.
like I don't go in and look at it earlier
Mhm.
and then decide in my brain what am I going to say about it
Yes.
before I film it. I wait. I don't know what the card is until y'all know what it is when I pull it
Uh-huh.
out.
Uh-huh.
And so whatever you get is just kind of what comes out off the top of my head.
Mhm.
Um, which most times I can keep in under a minute.
Mhm.
Most times, sometimes I get off on a tangent,
Uh-huh.
and it's 5 minutes later, and it's like, okay, this thing's going to be a short today. Um, but
Yes.
I've got a lot of positive feedback from people
Yeah.
just saying, thank you. I needed to hear that today.
Mhm.
Or, wow,
Mhm.
I never thought of it like that before, that
Mhm.
kind of thing. Um, and I was just doing it on YouTube at first, and then somebody said, well, you should post it on TikTok. Don't you have a TikTok account? And I'm like, yeah. And they said, why don't you post it on TikTok too? I now have more followers on TikTok than I do on YouTube.
Wow.
Go figure.
Wow.
Um, and I get a lot of positive feedback from them. Oh, thank you so
Mhm.
much. I needed to hear
Mhm.
that today. And a lot of them are really young people
Uh-huh.
that I hear back from. I go in and I look at their, you see their little picture next to their name, and it's
Mhm.
like, God, you can't be more than 25 if you're that. I mean,
Uh-huh.
a lot of them are much younger people that just like nobody ever tells them anything positive.
Mhm.
Um, so, and I enjoy doing it because it's also a positive affirmation for me that day.
Yes.
And so it kind of, makes me feel good as well.
Mhm.
Um, I know somebody
And
had made a suggestion once, why don't you do like a whole week's worth in one evening and then just every day release that that affirmation. And I said, well, I could do that, but I said, you're not getting an honest response at that point,
Okay.
because what I'm thinking about it on Sunday night, if I do it, may be totally different of where I'm at on Wednesday morning when I actually do the affirmation.
Okay.
And so you get a different, in my
Mhm.
opinion, you get a different response.
Mhm.
And I just kind of wanted it to be very raw and very real
Mhm.
right off the get go.
I like it the way you're doing it. I've seen them. I've seen them.
Oh, okay,
They'll
cool.
pop up during my work day, and I'll listen to them.
That's why, I figure if somebody sees it, it's less than a minute. And if
Uh-huh.
it just makes them feel good for the afternoon, then my job has been done,
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
I like what Garnett put, laughing sounds.
Yes.
And so yeah, are you leaving?
No.
Oh. So I never know.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, y'all. Life stuck its face in my face. And I want to apologize for the lip, y'all. I can't put anything on it. Something bit me at that festival yesterday when I had gone outside to smoke a cigarette,
Wow.
and something bit me or stung me or something, and I didn't even realize it till I got home and
Mhm.
realized I had a big swollen knot on my lip. I was like, what the
Mhm.
heck? And it
Mhm.
hurts like the dickens. So
Mhm.
I've been putting stuff on it, but
Mhm.
it looks kind of yucky when I do, so I didn't do it for the show. And I didn't want to put makeup on it, so because that might make it worse. You never know. Um, but anyway, so yeah, and if y'all know of any affirmation cards that you see out there,
Mhm.
drop me a comment, in the
Mhm.
comment section, or shoot me an email, let me know about it.
Mhm.
I've been trying to buy more affirmation cards just so I kind of have a stack of them there and ready to go, and then that way when I go through one deck, I got another one there ready to go,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mhm.
to wait. Um, I know one of my recent tangents was I forgot my cards at home that day, and I got to lunch and I said, do I do one or not? And then I said, no, hell, let's do it. So I
Uh-huh.
took it out, and I got a lot of positive feedback on that one because I was just like, okay, y'all, no card today. I forgot them at home. We're just gonna wing it. And it was the beginning of Pride Month, so that's
Uh-huh.
the direction I took it in.
Uh-huh.
And so I got a lot of good feedback on that one.
Good.
Of
Good.
course, it ran longer than a minute, but
Mhm.
that's okay.
Uh-huh.
If I don't have something to rein me in, I can go on and on and on and on and
Mhm. Mhm.
on. As most of y'all know, it's hard to make me shut up. Uh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
it's the Gemini in me. One shuts up and the other one starts talking. So yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, but a daily card draw, yeah, that too. I took out one of my more positive decks just to show when I've
Oh.
been out of affirmation cards. If I'm waiting for some to come in,
Mhm.
I've got like the Angel Tarot cards by Radley Valentine, and these are you got the same one.
But look who they're
Oh, but it's a different author. Oh no,
no,
it's Radley Valentine.
and Doreen Virtue when she was
Okay. Huh. So
it's
it
the
may be
same
a
card.
re-release. Yeah,
It's
it's
the
the same
same card.
cards.
Mhm.
They may have done a re-release and she might have added or
No, no.
refined some of the
That's
stuff.
when she left the community. She asked them to take her name off of it.
Ah, okay. I got you.
Mhm.
And yeah, because I just got my deck like about a year ago. So
Okay.
um it would be a more recent.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like
But
I
you're not
said,
sure.
right now I'm working on these. These are the
Uh-huh.
ones I'm going through.
Mhm.
And they're really, I don't want to look at the one for tomorrow.
Mhm. Book Bewitched talked about writing in a gratitude journal, the affirmation 3 times,
Yeah.
that's really a positive thing. Gratitudes will help you develop spirituality, and it brings your energy back to yourself because we keep sending our energy out to other people,
Yeah.
and we need to we need to have a balance. Most of the times, if you're really spiritual or if you're empathic, you have more energy going out than coming in. You need to balance it. And usually
Yeah.
people who are empathic, they they get over things more quickly unless they just like never.
Absorb too much. Yeah.
Right, yeah. They
Yeah.
will get over it quickly. That's why they consider themselves to be strong people. That and it's true, but they need to also practice self-care.
Hi, hugger. Hugs to you too.
Hi,
She
hugger.
sent you and me. She sent you and me hugs. So, see, this is
Yeah.
like the deck I'm working on now. You get this one little thing in the front,
Mhm.
and then when you flip it over, there's a saying on the back.
Okay.
And so, and I'll read it out, and
Mhm.
then I'll whatever just pops into my head at that given moment.
Mhm.
That's what I run with, and
Yeah.
and I enjoy doing those because it makes me feel better too.
Mhm.
Because there have been times when the particular topic has come up, and I'm supposed to give a daily affirmation. It happened just the other day with I am financially secure, and
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, this one's hard because I'm not financially secure right now. I'm
Uh-huh.
struggling a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Um, so it it can be a little difficult at times
Mhm.
to try to be positive with something when I'm responding on the video if it's
Mhm.
something that I'm battling
Uh-huh.
myself.
Uh-huh.
And in the beginning I thought, well, let's just go with it, don't say anything. And I thought, no, you know what? That's not being honest. If
Uh-huh.
it's something I'm struggling with, then I need to say this is something I'm struggling with.
Mhm.
And I get really good feedback when I do that. So
Yeah.
because I think people really appreciate when they know that you're being honest with them.
And genuine.
Um, yeah, that's why I don't read the cards before I get ready to film.
Yes. Yes.
I don't see the card until I pull it out for everybody to look at.
Good.
And
Good.
so Sukilau, that's a new name. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And Hugger is our official greeter in the community. She shows up and sends hugs to everybody.
Which is good.
Um, absolutely. But yeah, it's the same with reading comments and stuff that people will go in after you do a video.
Uh-huh.
Most people are very positive in what they're saying,
Mhm.
even if you're covering something that they're not into or that they don't
Mhm.
believe in. Every now and then,
Mhm.
you get somebody that's just like really ugly about it,
Uh-huh.
and it's so funny because I can have 10 messages saying, "Oh, this was great. I learned a lot. I really enjoyed
Mhm.
it." But it's that one that comes in that says, "Well, this really sucked."
Uh-huh.
You don't know what you're talking about. And that's the one that sticks with me.
Is it?
Yeah, and it's
Oh.
like, and even though I know it, it still will stick with me.
Uh-huh.
So it's a constant chore
Uh-huh.
to work on. And
Yep. Mhm. But you know one thing, Sherry, just like you've read the comments and you see that they're all positive, that person sees it as well. And there are some people out there that says, "Oh, they're too happy. Let me bring them
yeah,
down." And you have to
yeah,
realize instead of saying, "What's wrong with me?" you may have to say, "What is going on with this person that they felt that they had to be so violent?" Because it's violence. It's emotional violence.
yeah,
That's what I would say to you because there are some people that I don't agree with, but I don't I don't make comments on them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Especially not
I've watched
hateful
people that have said some really stupid stuff,
Uh-huh.
and it's like there's that part of me that wants to go in and blast them,
Right.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, don't
Yeah.
don't do that
Mhm.
because you're not
Mhm.
going to. You're proving their point
Right.
if you do that.
Right. Right.
Instead, go in and simply say, well, I don't agree with your thought
Uh-huh.
process, with your premise,
Mhm.
but I appreciate you doing it and sharing it
Mhm.
with everybody.
Mhm.
It gives everyone something to talk about.
Right.
And most times I never see nor hear from them again.
Right.
But every now and again, I'll get somebody that'll respond back and say, I really didn't mean to sound that ugly or that rude. I was just
Uh-huh.
having a bad day. And it's like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
we all have them. Trust me.
Uh-huh.
Today was
Yeah.
that day for me. So
Yeah.
um, it's been a pet emergency chaos day for me today. I accidentally stepped on the door key because I didn't see
Ooh.
him.
Ooh.
And of course, I hit the ground. He's screaming and crying at the top of his lungs. My son comes running out. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. There's blood everywhere because when I stepped on him, I mean, I didn't like step fully on him. I kind of stepped and felt him and leaned back, and that's why I fell because I had to pull myself off of balance. Um, but one of the bottom teeth went up and split his lip
Ooh.
and a corner of his nose.
Mm.
And so there was like blood everywhere. The dog's
Wow.
screaming and crying. I'm crying. My son's freaking out. I'm freaking out. It just was one of
Mhm.
those days, And the
Yeah.
dog's okay. He's fine.
Good.
He
Good.
stopped bleeding. He stopped
Good.
crying and screaming. My back, however, is giving me fits and has ever since because I had to twist crooked to get off of him and
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
put my full weight on him.
Right.
Um, and it's scary. It's little things like that
Mhm.
can kind of throw your whole day off.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like I told Isaac, normally I'm at least partially prepared for our show. I write up
Mhm.
notes and whatnot, look stuff up. Um, didn't happen today.
Mhm.
We
Well,
winging it today, and
and
so
not a problem, not a problem. But, Sherry, one thing that I would say to everybody, and, someone said it earlier, if you're going to do affirmations, you can look up affirmations on, like, Google affirmation, positive
oh
affirmation.
yeah, absolutely,
Write them on a card, put them on your mirror, put them in your cell phone. It's good to do affirmations like if you're going for a walk, you say the affirmations to yourself until you
yeah.
memorize, and you keep saying them
There are
over until they just
there are
come into
several
your head.
apps you can do too that
Yes.
it's
Yes.
like pick a card or something. You pick whatever deck and you hit the
Right.
little button and it'll
Right.
shuffle the cards and throw one out
Mhm.
at you, or throw an
Mhm.
affirmation out at you, and then you go from
Right.
there.
Mhm.
Um,
And there are apps that'll send you an affirmation, a daily affirmation,
yeah,
but you can do your own.
absolutely.
Can I read some of the ones that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go for it.
Eileen Hay that, Louise Hay has? Uh, let's see. Everything is working out for my highest good. Out of this or any situation, only good will come. I am safe. Every thought and action I engage in creates my future. I am on a wonderful journey of positive change. I forgive myself and set myself free. I move past other people's fear and limitations. And they just go on, but you have to
Yeah,
pick an affirmation that doesn't throw you into reverse. And that's something I think that's something that Abraham says. It can't be something that you're so far from that it
yeah,
just makes it more. So
Yeah.
you use another affirmation. Uh, I once placed an affirmation over my sun visor, and it seems like every time I would pull the sun visor down, that's the exact time I needed that particular affirmation. And my affirmation was simple. It was, I am not a victim.
Yeah.
And and the story behind that is sometimes I would feel like such a victim if somebody was sarcastic, or I felt like they were dismissive. And so it had to, I don't know where it came from. I cannot pinpoint where that feeling came from, but I had that feeling. And I did that
It could be from
affirmation.
a past life, somebody that was always,
That's what I'm thinking, because I can't pinpoint it
yeah,
in from any point in my lifetime, any point in this lifetime. And what I would do is, and I would just feel so down. And then I would say, I am not a victim. It seems like it energized me to move forward. And
yeah,
those are the sort of affirmations that we need to use for ourselves. Something that's not so far from where we are, but it's moving us forward.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Hmm.
like what Book put.
Hmm.
There are more disturbed folks now. Yeah, and I try not to go off into the political here, but
Hmm.
you've had one faction of people in our government and outside of it for the last,
Hmm.
10 years, I would say, that have been doing everything they can
Hmm.
to tear everybody down, make it
Hmm.
seem worse than it really is.
Hmm.
Um, that have to blame whatever's going on this person because of their skin color, or this person because of their religion, or this person because of their gender, because they don't want to admit that they're the ones with a hang up
Hmm.
with that imaginary person that they're thinking of.
Hmm.
um and that can be really, um that's almost like a part of mirror work, really
Hmm.
being able to look at yourself and say, yeah, this is their problem, not my
Hmm.
problem, because I'm not dealing with this.
Hmm.
Obviously they are, if that's what they're going to
Hmm.
bring up. um
You know what I would
so, but
say to
yeah.
that, here?
Mm,
I got a theory behind that. These people have gotten into high positions, and they talk like they are totally out of their mind. Half the things that they say do, do not exist in reality,
mhm.
and they won't let up. My theory, when people are telling me things that I can't put together in my head, there's really something we don't know. They
Yeah,
know what they're doing, but we don't know what they're doing. Anytime someone tells you a story, your mind will follow it. I don't care how simple or how tragic. But when you keep trying to back the person up and trying to get them to explain more clearly, they're leaving something out. And when we can be comfortable knowing that you're leaving something out, but it will be revealed if I keep listening to you. Because see, we
yeah,
don't listen because we're trying to clarify. If you keep
right.
listening,
We're
they
trying
will
to think
tell
of
you.
the answer to what they're talking about
Yeah, they will
instead of
tell you.
listening to what they're talking about.
That's why it's so
um
frustrating.
yeah. um I know. It's just like when you're dealing with a negative person in real life,
Mhm, mhm,
and I've shared this before. I have an old friend, I've known her for a long time.
mhm,
She's as sweet as she can be, but she is so down all
mhm,
the time.
mhm,
Everything is glass half empty,
mhm,
doomsday, it's all
mhm,
coming to an end,
mhm,
woe is me, just add it all up, and
mhm,
that's her. And it can be, I mean, I literally, if I know that I'm going to go meet up with her for,
Mhm.
for lunch or something, I have to really prepare myself for that,
Mhm. Mhm.
to put up those force fields,
Yeah.
so that
Uh-huh.
she doesn't suck me dry, because you'll walk away feeling totally exhausted. She's like an
Yeah.
energy vampire,
Yeah.
and she doesn't even realize she's doing it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I can understand why people who are like that,
Mhm.
why they like to be around people that are happy and seem to have it all together, and they're carefree, and they're just, they're
Uh-huh.
rolling with it, doing their thing, because that's what they want and they don't know how to get it,
Yeah.
you know? And they can't even give a compliment to someone
Mhm.
without putting something negative into that comment, that compliment,
Mhm.
because they don't know any other way to be.
Right.
And hi Mandy. Um Mandy says, I was married to a man like that. Yeah, unfortunately, there's been a lot of people married to somebody that was like that. That's not too cool.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, I know my late husband was, he was always kind of needling me about looking at the world through rose colored glasses.
Uh-huh.
You know, take your rose colored glasses off. It ain't that great, is
Mhm.
what he would say to me. And
Mhm.
I'd be like, well, how do you know? I like looking through rose colored glasses. I like to
Uh-huh.
make everything look better than it does.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better.
Mhm.
And it took several years before I kind of switched his way of thinking,
Yeah.
and every now and again I'd tease him and say, oh, there's my rose colored glasses. You're wearing them today. And
Yeah.
he'd just give me that look and he'd say, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, God, I hadn't thought about that in years. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of the little
Hi, Mandy.
isms when you're with somebody for a long time that,
Yeah.
kind of builds up over the years. And
Mhm.
some people can take that negativity and expand it
Mhm.
and make a person's life a living hell because
Yeah.
they're having to deal with that.
Mhm.
Um, and those are the people that really need help in, not just the one giving the negativity, but the one having to deal with it as well.
Right.
Those are two people right there that definitely need professional counseling.
Mhm.
In my
Mhm.
opinion,
Mhm.
strictly my opinion,
Mhm.
um, that they need that third party, not involved person to help walk them through and that's basically what a counselor is supposed to be, is to make
Yeah.
you understand what your faults are yourself and how do
Mhm.
you fix it.
Mhm.
Because if you go in and see a counselor, they're not going to, and you say, I don't know what to do, but they're not going to give you a list and tell you what to do. They're going to say, well, what do you think you should do? Or what have you tried that didn't work? Well, what have you tried that did work?
Mhm.
They have that ability to turn it around
Mhm.
so that you're providing your own answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and that's something that some people just know how to do that. They're born with it.
Uh-huh.
But most of us have to get trained to do that.
Uh-huh.
Um and that's from taking a lot of classes
Mhm.
and studying up on it.
Mhm.
My problem was I just kept changing my major.
Yeah. Well, let me say this, Sherry, and this is one thing that I believe, and I'm gonna throw this out there. And as the Oracle said in the Matrix, this is really gonna bake your noodle.
Yeah.
We all know we are all the best authorities in our own life. We all know exactly what we need to do. We tell ourselves every day, but we don't listen to ourselves, because
Yeah.
if we did something, it will feel uncomfortable. When we start when we start getting okay with the way we feel emotionally, we can make a lot better decisions, because we'll tell ourselves stuff like, in Mandy, I think she's what? No, somebody says like their ex-husband and they got out of there.
Yeah, that was Mandy.
How long do you tell yourself, I need to get out of this. I need to get out of this situation. I need to leave the situation. And my thing with people that I sit with and I talk, and I mean, like, they're telling me everything. I'm not telling them anything. And I said, you should listen to you. And then, they'll start laughing, but they realize you're right. I need to listen to me. We're telling ourselves all the time.
Or you'll hear them, you could hear somebody talking to someone else who's maybe having the same problems.
Uh-huh.
And they can tell them, oh, you should try this, you should do that,
Yeah.
you should do the other.
Uh-huh.
But then when it comes to themselves, they're like, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, you just told Mary Jane what to do and
Right.
to deal with it. Take your own advice.
Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
but when it comes to relationships, it's a two-way street. You got to both
Mhm.
be willing
Yeah.
to give and take.
Yeah.
Both be willing to work at it.
Mhm.
You can't fix it if only one person's willing to do the work.
Mhm.
Um,
As humans, we get caught in cycles. And
yeah,
and one person may be working on it. And sometimes our personalities get the best of us. If you're that person who is a problem solver and you can solve a problem, you will go from one solution to the other, and then you'll go back around again, because it's
yeah,
like, I know I can solve a problem. I know I can solve a problem. You can, and you have to say, I can solve a problem if I'm the common denominator. But if there's two factors, I got to consider that other factor. And
yeah,
if that other factor is maybe causing the problem, is what do I do now? We I think what we do is, and that's why we need to tell ourselves, I can pretty much solve a problem. I know I can solve a problem. That which is an affirmation. Why is this problem not being solved? Well, we never asked that part of the question, because our solution is, if I can get you to change, my life will be okay. But what I think Spirit is saying is, well, Isaac, you have to grow. There's some things that you have to do. You have to set boundaries. You have to feel sad that the person that you care about is not living up to your expectations. These are the sort of things that we're dealing with every day. And I think when you go and sit down and talk to a counselor, you start to hear yourself talk.
yeah,
That's what I
exactly.
think. Hmm.
Hi, Rose. And yeah, I mean, and most of us are empaths, so we
Hmm.
tend to absorb other people's emotions around us.
Hmm.
Um, it's taken me a long time to learn to put up partial shields to
Hmm.
kind of from absorbing too much.
Hmm.
Um, because boy, you want to talk about something that can bring you down, spiral down in a hurry.
Hmm.
Start absorbing everybody else's negativity around you.
Hmm.
Next thing you know, you're crashing and burning, and that's no way to live your life.
Yeah.
It's um,
One thing, most of the time when you have when you're an empath and you have those traits, most of the time people leave you to your own devices. You have to figure out things on your own. And
mhm,
I think that's why we help other people so much, because we think that they're going to reciprocate, and they usually
mhm,
won't. And
mm-mm,
maybe the spirit world is saying, maybe we came in saying, I want to know how to be self-sufficient. I think that's one thing that uh Wayne Dyer said one time.
yeah,
He said, maybe I said I wanted to be self-sufficient, and that will help you to be self-sufficient. But if you are that person who people do not come to your aid, and you can say, I've always wanted people to come to my aid, but they usually leave me to my own devices. What do I do if I'm left to my own devices? How can I deal with life and still be happy? Because on one hand, you're doing it anyway. On the other hand, you're
mhm.
wishing and hoping for something that's never going to come. You wish in one hand and you spit in the other. Which one gets full the quickest? So you just work on you. You can be happy without people coming to your aid. You can.
Yeah, and I know, I mean, I've met people over the years who, why can't I find somebody to settle down and get married with and have kids with? And
Yeah.
why can't I find my true love? And why,
Mhm.
why this, why that? And
Mhm.
it took a long time for me to realize, well, you have to love yourself first if you want someone else to love you.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to love somebody that doesn't love themselves because
Mhm.
they're needing that constant, repetitive affirmation given to them, just to make themselves feel worthy. Um, and that can also be a really deep rabbit hole you can go down if you let yourself. Uh, that's a and that's kind of where some mirror work can come in handy to do,
Mhm.
is just to be able to look at it and say, okay, that's me. That's
Mhm.
what I've done.
Mhm.
Now I've got to deal with it. How do I make it better?
Yep.
How do I fix it?
Mhm.
How do I undo the problems that I've caused?
Mhm.
Um, there's just so many examples in the world today of
Mhm.
people that are dissatisfied for whatever reason with their spouse, their job, their salary, their kids, their whatever. And it's always somebody else's fault. It's never theirs.
Mhm.
And yet they feel so, I don't know, put upon because the people around them don't give them that constant praise for
Mhm.
every breath they draw, you know. Um, I'm worried about our kids today because so many of them now
Mhm.
are starting to enter high school, that we're starting to get trained from the get go in kindergarten. Well, we all make an effort so everyone gets the trophy. No, not everyone deserves a trophy. If you deserve it, you should get it, but that doesn't mean you
Mhm.
have to share it with everybody else, unless what you were working on was a group effort. And then that's a different story, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that along with what you were saying, it's knowing when to, I guess, kind of let it go and walk away from it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
We'll recognize in reality because,
yeah,
sometimes we're trying to hold out. How long have we held out for somebody to change and come to our aid?
yeah,
How long do you hold out? 2 weeks, 2 years, 20 years? I mean, like, you could be you could be laid a good foundation for happiness in a 2-year period. But
oh
that's
yeah,
just what we do as empathic people. We don't wanna give up on people. And I think the thing behind that is we don't wanna give up on people because we know it's possible. But some people are not there at the time, so you have to go ahead and take care of you, I think.
yeah, yeah. Um, wait,
What is it?
the dogs have started up again.
Okay.
Okay, they stopped. The big one in the back, the big lab mutt mix, he hears a leaf flutter by the window outside, and he
Mhm.
starts woof,
Uh-huh.
woof, woof, barking. Well, the minute he starts barking, the little one joins him, and then they're barking back and forth at each other. And I don't think either one of them know what they're barking at. They're just barking to bark. It's like, okay, guys, stop. Um, I'm surrounded by testosterone. What can I say? Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's so easy to fall into the trap of always being someone else's fixer.
Mhm. Mhm.
Let me go tell mama about it. Let me go tell my sister about it. Let me go
Mhm.
tell my girlfriend about it, because
Mhm.
they're going to absorb what's going on, and then they're going to go about trying to fix it for you.
Mhm.
When what we need to learn to do is how to fix it ourselves.
Mhm.
And then if it's not fixable or if we hit a wall, then to swallow your pride and, pick up the phone or go online and find somebody to talk to.
Mhm.
Sometimes just a group of friends that are going to be honest with you, just talking to them can kind of help you work it out in your head.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so and it's not that you don't want to make whatever's being done locally right there in your house into a major issue just because you need help.
Mhm.
You know, most of your family, if they were to admit it, would probably say, "Oh, thank God they're getting help now. I can relax."
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, there's so many little things that uh we can do. I know one of the reasons why I like this deck, and I haven't used it that much. This is The Universe Has Your Back, is the name of this deck. I think this is the next one I'm gonna be doing
I've heard of that.
affirmations on. Yeah, this is what one side looks like,
Who is that
and
by?
then this is the other side. I have no idea.
Mm.
They don't say. There's
Okay.
no name on the deck. Um, but you get, oh, I see what I did. Okay. So this is like the back of the deck here.
Okay.
It's just
Uh-huh.
a ball inside of leaves or the sun inside of leaves. And then on the other side is just a quick little saying. Like this
Oh.
one is, what does it say? My outer experiences are a reflection of my inner condition.
Mm.
There you go.
Mhm.
That kind of makes sense because
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, uh, if we're to get ourselves in the right headspace,
Mhm.
then we have to not
Wow.
take every little external factor to heart and think, oh, this is me all the time. No, maybe it's just you that day,
Wow.
you know? Um, who you wowing about? Who did I miss?
I'm reading what Mandy said,
Um, oh my
which is so
God.
which is so true. It we
Yeah,
we this is this is what I think when you are with somebody like that and they threaten you, and I think some people, they just say, well, I'm treating you so poorly, you obviously don't care, or you're so worthless, I might as well just get rid of you. I think that's what they get to. And that's why we have to
yeah,
show people that we respect ourselves enough that we're willing to take care of ourselves. You know,
right,
leaving in you don't have to stand up to anybody and say, I'm leaving. Sometimes it's best to get away alive, to be honest with you.
yeah.
It
Just
really
pack
is.
up and go when they're not around.
Yeah, go in the night. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just
whatever,
go. You have to take
um,
care of yourself.
exactly. Yeah, garnets and psychic vampires. Yeah, I mean, that, and you have some people who are, for whatever reason, so broken inside that
Mhm,
if you're not constantly lavishing praise upon them,
mhm.
then you're doing, you're in the wrong. It's not
Right.
their fault that they're miserable. I mean, my grandmother was one of the most intelligent people I've ever known in my life. She was highly intelligent.
Mhm,
She was also a raging alcoholic
mhm,
because she was so miserable in her life
mhm,
that I'm sure in the beginning the alcohol made her feel better. In
mhm,
the end, it didn't,
mhm,
because that's the way alcohol works. Now, does
mhm,
that mean I'm saying don't have a drink? No. I mean,
mm.
hell, I went and had margaritas yesterday. It was really good too. I had one. I stuck to my limit of only one. Um, but it's knowing and accepting someone
Mhm.
else's negativity is not your negativity.
Mhm.
That's their issue. It took me years after my grandmother died to kind of get beyond the
Yeah.
self esteem issues that I
Mhm.
had
Mhm.
because of the way she was.
Uh-huh.
Because she was so miserable,
Mhm.
and her goal was to make everyone around her as miserable as she was.
Mhm.
And she was quite good at it too. Let me tell
Mhm.
you,
Yeah.
she was
I
really
believe
good at
I
it.
believe it.
My brother and I laugh. We both like, yeah, we that's how we learned to eat fast,
Mhm.
Get in there and hail your feed and get the hell out because she's gonna bitch and complain the entire meal
Yeah.
that everybody's out to get her, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of that was the alcohol talking,
Yeah.
but a lot of that was her misery talking, you know.
Mhm.
Um, then I look at my mom who had to grow up with that. She never even finished high school, single mom with two kids,
Mhm.
and she did it on her own. And she was
Mhm.
probably 95% of the time very upbeat and very easygoing.
Mhm.
She was a happy person.
Uh-huh.
Did she wish her life was easier and things were better? Well, of course she did.
Mhm.
We all do.
Yeah.
But she didn't let it drag her down, you know. Um, she was always willing to take that extra step to help somebody else
Mhm.
do better or feel better
Mhm.
or help them get the help they needed.
Yeah.
Um, that's where I learned it from was because of the way she was. And
Mhm.
the fact that years and years later, she said to me, one night, she made a comment about the greatest accomplishment in her life. And I'm thinking, she was a seamstress, she was a quilter, she did this, she did that, she raised two kids by herself. No, the thing that she was most proud about for herself was that both her kids got a college education because she realized the importance of that.
Mhm.
And it was something that she never had. And so us being able to follow through and get a degree was an affirmation for her that she did her job right of being a mom. Um, yeah, book, exactly. You have to learn to be your own fixer. Um, and if things are that bad that you can't see your way clear,
Mhm.
that's when you pick up the phone and you find a counselor. You
Yeah.
find somebody to talk to, a
Yeah.
priest, a pastor, a counselor, whoever you're comfortable with talking to.
Mhm.
You know, there are some people that would never go see a counselor, never go talk to a counselor. Just not going to
Yeah.
happen. But they'll go
Yeah.
see their local priest or their
Yeah.
local pastor
Mhm.
and lay it all out for them. You
Yeah.
know, um, or they drive their friends crazy because that's all they talk about is all the crap that's just wrong with their life. And that's something we all do. I heard that
Right.
laugh there. That's
Yeah.
something we all do.
Yeah.
Um,
It gets better. What I would say to everybody is we always know because we tell ourselves. It's almost like spirit is talking through us, and we hear it in our head, we say it out loud. This isn't working for me. This, if I stay here, it's gonna be terrible. Whatever it is. And that's given us, you don't have to do anything immediately, but you get to start planning.
yeah. Well, it's like when I first moved to Arizona,
Mhm.
um, I was completely by myself. I didn't have a car, didn't have a job, I didn't have any money. I had
Mhm.
an acquaintance that I knew only online who offered me a place to stay if I
Mhm.
wanted to come out west
Mhm.
and try to start over because it was after my husband had died.
Mhm.
And I went. And it didn't take long for me to realize this person was crazy, like dangerous crazy, not funny
Really?
crazy, but
Mhm.
dangerous crazy,
Wow.
like wackadoodle big time. And
Not
I had to wait.
wackadoodle crazy.
Oh yeah, she was wackadoodle and then some, you know.
That's funny. I I like
That's
that.
how I have to describe it. Yeah, she was
Okay.
wackadoodle.
I
Um,
like
I had to wait until I had a job and could afford to move out. It took a few months. And I literally, she had gone out to go party with some of her friends.
Mhm.
Now, she was my mother's age, you know, so it
Mhm.
was like
Yeah.
moving in with someone like with my mom, except my
Mhm.
mother was nothing like her, thank
Mhm.
God. But I literally had to wait until she went out one evening to go out with her friends, you know, after a very trying day of her blaming me for everything
Mhm.
wrong in her life, you know.
Mhm.
And I literally had already packed up all my stuff and had it ready to go. And I called a cab and said, okay, I need someone to come get me.
Yeah.
You need to come to the front door and don't honk. I'll be waiting outside for you. And she got home before I left and then went to bed. And when I knew it was getting close to time for that cab to get there, I had what little bit of stuff that I had was all in garbage bags and a couple of suitcases, and it was all sitting out on the front walk. And I
Mhm.
went out and I shut and locked the door behind me, and me and my cat, you know, and all my crap. And this taxi driver showed up, and I saw him getting ready to reach for his horn to tap, and I'm like waving my arms at him. And I think it clicked on him. Oh, yeah. They said, don't honk, you know. And he
Mhm.
gets out. And he's like, you're the one wait for the cab. And I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
So we need to go. We need to go now. And he was someone that just kind of made several comments during the trip from where I was at to where I had managed to get myself an apartment that she didn't
Mhm.
know I had. I didn't
Mhm.
tell her anything. I didn't tell her I was leaving.
Mhm.
And he just, you know, he was like, you know, problems with your husband, your boyfriend. I said, no. I said, it was just a friend, I thought. And I said, and she's just crazy. And I
Mhm.
need to get out before something bad happens. And he was like, no problem. He helped me get everything loaded in his cab and off we left. You know, and I never saw or heard from her again. I mean,
Mhm.
I left a note on in my room that I
Mhm.
had for her saying, I'm sorry you felt the way you felt.
Uh-huh.
I can't make you feel any different, and I'm out of here. Bye.
Mhm.
And that
Mhm.
was it. I didn't tell her where I got a place to live, nothing. She didn't know where I disappeared to.
Good for you.
And that was good by me because I had never been put in that situation before.
Good for
You
you.
know, and I wasn't sure quite how to handle it. I just
Mhm.
knew I had to get the hell out of there before she did something crazy. I mean, I would
Mhm.
sleep with the door locked to my room and a chair under the knob.
Really? Wow.
That's how frightened I was of her because she was crazy.
Mm.
Like, when I say wackadoodle, I mean she was out to lunch, you know? Um,
I love
and
that
that
word.
was scary. And
Yeah.
you can use it on your next patient. Are you
Wackadoo.
going to be wackadoodle today or are you going to be normal?
They're pretty normal, but I like the word
uh,
wackadoo.
they diagnosed you as being wackadoodle today.
Yeah, that sounds
Um,
serious.
but I got out of it, you know, and it was such a sigh of relief when I got to
Mhm.
the my little place that I had found,
Mhm.
which wasn't anything fancy, just a little hole in the wall apartment. And I got me and my cat out because she was obsessed with my cat, and I was always afraid she was going to hurt him or something.
Mhm.
And yeah, I felt damn lucky to get out of that situation,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And I had fortunately found a place to live that was roughly 3 blocks from where my job was,
Oh, that's
because I
good.
didn't have a car or anything, so I could walk to and from work.
Mhm.
And when I told my bosses, what had happened, they were both very accommodating with giving me a little extra time if I needed it, or they'd let me borrow one of the company cars to go get groceries, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Um, I mean, hell, they owned the company. That was their decision.
Right.
And it was greatly appreciated, and just that little bit of help from people that I really didn't know that well made all the
Mhm.
difference in the world.
Yeah.
But in the end, it made me a stronger person
Mhm. Mhm.
because it it taught me that yes, I can take care of myself.
Mhm.
And because that
Mhm.
was one of my biggest questions in my mind is I've always been someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's mother.
Right.
I don't know how to take care of myself, not
Uh-huh.
realizing I'd already been taking care of everybody else.
Right.
Of course, I knew how to take care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so it was a real epiphany for me to be able to do that
Mhm.
without having a major incident occur,
Mhm. Mhm.
but to just quietly slip out the door and say, I'm gone
Yeah.
and be done with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And so,
But you know one
but
thing,
there
we
were,
never
what,
know what other people go through. We just see them
right,
walking, on the surface, they look like everything is just fine. They don't have any problems. We never know what other people go through. We don't know their
e-
stories.
exactly. And then in a lot of ways, that's how this ties into last episode's
Mhm.
topic of tell your own story,
Yes. Yes.
of being able to clearly define
Yeah.
what the issue is for you.
Yes. Yes.
Because the way I looked at everything I did then, I once the first time I sat down and told anybody my story about it, the first words out of their mouth was, "You are the bravest person I know."
Mhm.
Like, excuse me. They're like, I don't think I would have had the courage to do what you did.
Right.
I said, well, I was acting out of desperation. And they were like,
Uh-huh.
no, you were being courageous and you just
Yeah.
didn't know it.
Right.
So
Right.
one person's um one person's bad way of looking at it is another person's good way of looking at it.
And you know one thing, Sherry? That's a perfect example of knowing what your feelings are, because somebody suggested that was courageous, and then you can look at it and say, "Yeah, I guess I was being courageous." Because we tend to minimize the things that we do.
Yeah.
And we tend to
To
say,
me, I
I
had
was scared when I left." No, you were
my
brave.
story was I ran away from home and I was acting out of desperation
Uh-huh.
because I didn't know what to do.
Uh-huh.
And it took somebody else hearing the story and saying, "You're the most courageous person I've ever met." And for
Yeah.
that thought to come into my brain and go,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, I guess they're right. That was kind of courageous to do what I did." I just because in the moment I was not able to process that kind of thinking.
Yes.
Um, and that's one of the things this little community is so good at is reaching out to others
Mhm.
and being there, you know.
Yeah.
So that's part of Isaac and my goal with this particular show that we do twice a month
Mhm.
is to try to provide that different
Yeah.
perspective
Right.
so that y'all feel better about yourself or you can
Yeah.
make a better decision for yourself or
Yes. It's about doing the
you know,
next right thing for
yeah,
you. Mhm.
one day at a time.
Yeah. As long as you're making decisions, if you're making decisions and it's about your intention, if you know you're not hurting someone else and you're not hurting yourself, you're probably making a good decision. So it's about making the decision that I have to go, yeah, this person will probably be sad, but I will be sadder if I stay. So really
Yeah.
who's going to be sad? If it's you're going to be sad or me, I'd rather you be sad because I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm just trying to help me.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in some cases, it could be a lot worse than just being sad, and it could be
Yes. Yes.
life or death situations,
It sure could.
So
It sure could.
um, that's where being able to talk to somebody can help you determine
Yes.
if you're not able to figure it out where you're at on that spectrum
Yes.
of I'm uncomfortable to, oh my God, they're going to kill me.
Right.
And that's a wide arc there.
It
There's a
is.
lot of little slots in between.
Yes.
That's kind of what we're hoping is to just give y'all
Mhm.
a little bit of information that you can then sit back and chew on and
Yeah.
think about it and
Mhm.
say, okay, I'm doing okay. I'm making the right moves. I'm doing all right.
Yes.
Or, okay, this is really beyond my control or beyond my abilities. I think I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah. Clarity. Bringing in some clarity.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, anything else you want to add?
Mm. Mm-mm. I'm like you. Once I get talking, I'll keep talking, but you gotta
We're at
stop.
111, and that's an angel number. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of good.
Oh, cool.
Um,
Cool.
yeah. So, yeah, and it's exactly, Mandy, when you have children involved,
Yeah.
that goes into an even higher
Mhm.
level of needing to deal with it because you have a child to protect,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and for most of us who are parents, our children come first,
Mhm.
even when they're in their 50s.
Right.
They're still your
Right.
kids and they come first.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's being able to protect our kids and protect ourselves and get ourselves in a safe environment.
Yes.
And that's where a positive affirmation every day can help you build that strength. I mean, I wake up every morning and the first thought I have is, oh, thank you, I'm still breathing.
Right. And you know one thing,
I
if you're doing
may,
those positive affirmations, you can't help but do the next right thing because your ego is not going to let you keep harming yourself.
yeah.
And that's why sometimes we allow ourselves, not allow ourselves, but sometimes that's why when we're in depression, it's like we don't have to do that much because we're not thinking on that positive side. Because once you think on
Hmm.
that positive side, you're going to start doing things that are more positive for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't have anything else, so
I don't either.
I'm done.
Okay. All right. But this is good.
um, and just under an hour and 15 minutes, so that's good. That's a
Yep.
good
That's good.
good click. And thank y'all for coming. Thank you for sharing and playing
Yeah.
along in the chat and talking with us and expressing yourself. That's the whole point
Yes.
for y'all to be able to talk it through.
Hmm.
And we'll look over our dwindling list of topics that we currently have, and we'll pick three, and I'll post them up on my community tab in the next couple of days, and then y'all can go in and vote for what you want the next topic to be,
Yes.
and that will be on the. I look at my calendar. Uh, we'll be back on the 23rd of June.
Okay. Sounds good. That
So,
works for me.
all righty, all right. Y'all have a great afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. That barbecue's starting to smell good.
Good for you.
And even better, I didn't have to do any of it.
I
So
know, right? That's
I get to
always the
clean up
best.
the I get to clean up the mess afterwards.
Oh,
because their idea of clean and my idea of clean are
Two
two
different things.
totally
Okay.
separate ideas.
Okay.
That's just the way it goes. All
Yeah.
right, y'all have a great Sunday evening. Um,
Yes.
start tomorrow morning. When you first wake up, think of something to be grateful for.
Yes.
Keep a little notepad by the bed and write it down. Just one item, just one thing.
Yes.
And every day do that. Don't repeat. Find something else to be grateful for. Before you know it, you'll be grateful for your fingers and your toes and your
Right. That's true. That's true.
all kinds of stuff. So, because you start running out of ideas. And then when you start really thinking about that stuff, you start realizing just how grateful you are for everything.
Yes.
Um, I want to wrap it up with this. A story I read years ago, I think it was in a Reader's Digest, of a teacher that had, I think it was like freshman year in high school. And at the end of the year, she had every student write out the 10 best things or the 5 best things, something like that, of every other student in the room, in their classroom. And, just, he's honest, he's loyal, he's a gentleman, she's polite, she's friendly, just little things, right? 5 things about each one of your students. And she had them turn them in. And it was years later at a reunion, I think it was like a 10-year or 15-year reunion. And everybody from that class was there. And she proceeded to pass out these cards to everybody. That was all of those affirmations that they had said about each other. And she
That's
had
great.
done up the cards were like, if this was for Joe, then everything that everybody said about him that day was on that card to give it to Joe.
That's great.
And the amazing thing was, is as she was doing this, she had the guys whipping out their wallets and the girls taking out their purses saying, I still have my copy,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Uh-huh.
because that's what she had done. I messed the story up a little bit. That's what she had done in the beginning, was when she got it all, she typed it out, what everybody
Uh-huh.
said about you. And you passed them out to everyone in the class, like the last
Uh-huh.
day of class.
Uh-huh.
And then come to find out 10 years later, and they were all still carrying that little slip of
Mhm.
paper in their wallet. And
That's
when
nice.
they needed it, when they needed that pick me up, they would
Yes.
pull out that list and look at it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so, and that's, I mean, that's a wonderful thing to
it is.
do. Um, let them clean Sherry. I don't understand, Rose.
Clean up after the barbecue.
Oh yeah, no, I want it actually clean, which means no grease or food splatters on the wall and the cabinets
Oh,
and icky counters and just dirty dishes dumped in the sink and left,
no.
because it'll stay like that for days if I don't do something. So yeah, no, I go in and clean up behind them. All right, y'all. Y'all have a great week. And I will, the next few days, I will post up our next list of stuff for y'all to vote on. And we will see you back on the 23rd of June.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.